Generating wealth is usually a slow process, especially when you're just starting out. This has been confirmed by many people who have won large amounts of money. Charlie Munger is one of them, and he once said that the first $100,000 is the hardest. What was mentioned during a Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting in the 1990s. It is still true today and will be true for a long time. For most people, their first $100,000 is one of the most difficult achievements to achieve. The same thing happens with the first $1 million. Imagine that you want to have $1 million so you can retire early. With good planning and budgeting, that money could give you a comfortable income for many years. Or, after many years of hard work, you could build the house of your dreams in the place of your dreams. Now, saving $1 million is no easy task. To do this, you would need to save $33,000 each year for 30 years. In other words, it's not very realistic because we all want to go on vacation every year, pay a mortgage, raise children, and send them to school. It's just too much, and you can't do it with a normal job. Most people forget about the idea of saving $1 million because they don't have a plan to achieve it. It seems like only those who start a business or are lucky with rich parents can do it. So many people decide to give up and focus on smaller goals. We are going to review some basic concepts of the world of finance and explain why it is so difficult to reach the first $100,000, but why it is easier to reach the first $1 million. Let's see. The first reason why it is extremely difficult to get your first $100,000 is simply because you do not invest. It may seem strange at first, especially if you are not familiar with the world of investments, but it is necessary if you want to achieve your goals, whether it is buying a house, retiring early, or simply living without financial worries. For many people, investing can seem scary and mysterious. Many people do not have knowledge about investing, fear losing money, believe they do not have enough money to start, or simply postpone the decision until later. In fact, many believe they don't have enough money to do so. According to a survey by the site GeoBanking Rates, 55% of Americans believed they did not have enough money to invest, 15% simply did not want to do it, while 8% did not invest their money out of fear. This survey was conducted in the United States, but this happens in any country in the world. We all know someone who believes investing is too risky and prefers not to do it. When you don't know how something works, it's natural to be afraid. It's like driving a car without learning to drive. You don't know what to do, and that can be scary. In investing, if you don't understand how markets, stocks, and bonds work, you're probably afraid of losing your money. The important thing to remember is that investing doesn't have to be complicated or scary. With a little information and some tips, you can start investing today and start accumulating money to reach that first $100,000. The second reason that prevents you from reaching your first $100,000 is the high expenses of your independent life. In simple terms, the initial expenses for independent living can harm you because they represent a large initial investment that reduces your ability to save and invest. That is, the amount of money you must spend to carry out your adult life, once you leave your parents' house, can mean that you will not have economic stability later. This is something that is often not mentioned, but it is true. Imagine that you need to pay the security deposit and the first month's rent, buy furniture, appliances, and cover other initial expenses. This can easily add up to several miles of dollars, reducing your ability to save money in the first place. That is, the money you spend establishing yourself is money you cannot invest. This is the opportunity cost. Every dollar you spend on furniture or rental deposits is a dollar you're not investing in something that could generate long-term returns. The other reason we must mention is related to low salaries. The first job one has is usually one of the most difficult to get, but it is also usually the one with the worst salaries since one is in an early stage. Therefore, it is normal to accept low salaries while learning the trade. This initial phase can be especially challenging due to the combination of the learning curve and the need to demonstrate competence and skills. Therefore, initial income tends to be low, since an advanced level in the profession or business has not yet been reached. This scenario makes it difficult to accumulate the first $100,000 for several reasons. First, low wages limit the amount of money one can save. Much of the income can be used to cover basic expenses, leaving little room for savings. And on the other hand, the need to learn the trade or profession may require investments in education or training, which further reduces the amount available to save and invest. This can affect financial stability and force you to use the few accumulated savings, further delaying progress towards the goal of $100,000. In summary, the low investment, as well as the initial expenses for independent living and the low level of income are three important reasons that keep us from our desired $100,000. It seems that achieving this level of wealth is indeed a difficult task. Before continuing with the video, if you find this content useful, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new content. Let's get on with it. Now that we know this, you may be thinking how hard it must be to reach $1 million. After all, we are talking about a figure that is equivalent to 10 times the first objective, right? Most people might think that reaching $1 million must be much more complicated than reaching 100,000, but in reality this is not so. Let's see then, why after reaching the initial $100,000 it becomes easier to reach 1 million. The main reason is due to the magic of compound interest. Imagine that your money is like a snowball that is rolling downhill. As you roll, you pick up more snow, right? Well, that extra snow you pick up is like compound interest. The bigger your snowball gets, the more snow it accumulates and therefore the more compound interest you generate. Dream great, right? So, here's the deal. If you don't have at least $100,000, your snowball isn't big enough for compound interest to really make a difference. For compound interest to be truly effective and generate significant income, you need to have a good amount of money initially. For example, let's say you invest $10,000 in a mutual fund and you earn an average return of 7% per year. That means that, after 5 years, your money will have grown from $10,000 to $14,025. That is, 5 full years to earn only $4,000. That is why it is so difficult to reach the first $100,000. Now imagine that you have $10,000 that you can invest each year and that, on average, you earn a 7% return on that investment. Now, the first leg, going from $0 to $100,000, will take you about 7.84 years. But here's the interesting thing. The second tranche, from $100,000 to $200,000, will only take you about 5.1 years. In short, it is 35% faster to do the second than the first. And if we expand the panorama, going from $200,000 to $300,000 will take only 3.78 years, from $300K to $400K about 3 years, and from $400K to $500,000 only 2.5 years. Do you notice how as you obtain more capital, the deadlines are increasingly shorter for the next objective? Finally, it would take us a little more than 30 years to reach $1 million, investing annually about $10,000 at a rate of 7% per year. The key is to win as quickly as possible. Think about this. If you can shave just a couple of years off the time it takes you to get to that first $100,000, you'll be on your way to becoming a millionaire much faster. This may sound like fiction, but the magic of mathematics behind compound interest tells us that it is true. Just like we said before, it's almost like a snowball that grows faster the bigger it gets. In fact, it is believed that it was Albert Einstein himself who said, "The most powerful force in the universe is compound interest." The second reason why it is quick to reach $1 million is due to accumulated experience. Having experience in business and money is crucial to being able to multiply your wealth for several reasons. That is, years of experience in investing allow you to learn valuable lessons about how things work in the business and financial world. It gives you the opportunity to understand the risks and develop skills to make smart financial decisions. Additionally, having money provides you with the resources necessary to invest in opportunities that can accelerate your growth towards $1 million. For example, you can invest in your own business to expand it or diversify your investments in different areas. It also allows you to have a margin of financial security to overcome unforeseen obstacles. Therefore, the key is to get that first $100,000. Let's now look at some tips or guidelines that could be useful to achieve this first objective. The first is to control your finances. In a few words, this is taking control of your finances. There is an easy way to do this, and that is by creating a budget. This will help you make smarter decisions. With a budget, you can prioritize your expenses, separate what you really need, and most importantly, plan for the future. It's like having a plan for your money, and this will give you more peace of mind. It's not about being super thrifty, but about understanding the difference between what you really need and what you just want. The second tip is that you should optimize your taxes. It sounds complicated, right? But in reality, it's simpler than it seems. It's all about finding ways to pay less taxes. Tax evasion is wrong and illegal. What is good is intelligent tax planning. That is, paying less taxes permanently within the law. When you want more money, you generally pay more taxes. But for business owners, there is an advantage. They can deduct certain expenses from their profits before paying taxes. For example, renting office space. Let's say you have a graphic design business and you rent office space where you work. The monthly cost of renting that office is $1,000. When it comes time to file your taxes, you can deduct that $1,000 from your total income before calculating the taxes you owe. This means you will pay taxes on a smaller amount of money, which will help reduce your tax burden. That's why starting a business you love can be a great way to save on taxes. The third tip to get your first $100,000 is to get rid of debt. The first thing you should do is make a list of all your debts and prioritize them based on interest rates. Debts with the highest interest rates should be your main targets. Although it may seem like you are losing money by making payments, think of them as an investment in your financial future and reaching your first $100,000. The fourth tip is to look for other additional income. This is common in all parts of the world. In fact, during 2023, it was indicated that 50% of Americans had a secondary job, even if they earned $100,000. Having a side job can be a great idea. Because it gives you the opportunity to diversify your sources of income. This means that you don't just depend on one salary, but you have more money coming into your pocket from different places. And guess what? That means you're adding more snow to your financial snowball. Remember how we talked about compound interest earlier? Well, this is like giving it an extra boost. The more sources of income you have, the faster your money will grow thanks to compound interest. And the fifth tip to reach your first $100,000 is to have discipline. To achieve all the things we have been talking about, you need to be disciplined with yourself. Discipline is like the currency of success. The more you have it, the more wealth you can accumulate in the future. Do you want to know how to build your wealth from scratch? Well, it all starts with small steps and daily habits. For example, you can start by making a budget, paying off your debts, investing a little money each month, and working on developing your skills and knowledge. The key is to be consistent and commit to yourself for the long term. In short, saving the first $100,000 is like pushing a big boulder up a hill. But once you get it, that rock starts rolling easier and faster down the slope. Achieving that first goal is hard. But once you achieve it, the game changes and growing your money becomes much easier. It may be slow at first, but over time the right investments can grow significantly. Here's how you can start building your wealth and get closer to that $100,000 and beyond. Do you also think that the first $100,000 are the hardest to get? We'll read you in the comments. Well, that was all for today. If you found it useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to watch the following videos.